So morning, this is a gentle Tibetan flow today, and we're going to start with really focusing along the spine, on the inside of the spine. So bring your attention to the base of your spine and take an in and an out breath. This is the start, our foundation. And move your attention up along the inside of the spine. So you've got the knobbly bits and then it's inside of the spine. And just move your attention up a little bit to your lower abdominal area along the spinal inside of the spine. Move up behind the navel, thinking of the colour yellow in this particular series and sequence. Moving up to the heart, behind the heart, to the throat, the third eye, centre of the forehead, and then right to the crown, to the top of the head. And then just bring your arms back down, lift and roll your shoulders. And inhaling, raise your arms, reverse your palms, and then just gently sway from one side to the centre. As you come to the centre, lift up, and then breathing out, come to the other side. Back to the centre as you lift up, and breathing out, coming to the other side. Come to the centre, and lower your arms. Lift and roll your shoulders. Come to the top of the mat where we do some warm-up. Salute to the suns. There are so many ways to do this, and there are so many variations. But inhale, exhale, bring your hands together at the heart centre. Lower your hands. As you breathe in, bringing your hands up, stretch your fingers. You can look up if this is okay for your neck, otherwise look forward. Breathing out, bend your knees and roll down, hands to the ground. Step back with your right foot, left foot into a plank position, holding it, heels up. And then bend your knees onto the ground. And then come to lying on the ground. You can stay on your elbows if you would like. Breathing in and out. Or you can stretch right out along the floor. Come back with your hands, elbows are in, as you press down on your knees. Tuck your toes and come into a soft dog, bending your knees and then straightening them. But do feel that you can adjust your feet. The wider your feet are, the softer this is on your back, and you can bend your knees and straighten your legs and bend your knees and then straighten them again. The heels aim towards the floor, they don't have to touch the floor. And then bend your knees, coming back to kneeling. Your hands go to the left to give space for your right foot to come up, hands either side of your right foot. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back left knee and step your left foot towards your right foot. Hands go on your shins. You press your hands into your shins and have a sense of lengthening from the tailbone to the top of your head. Breathe out, bend your knees in and elbows out. Inhale, press your hands onto your shins and stay here as you breathe out. As you next breathe in, bend your knees, press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to stand. You can carry on raising your hands up to the ceiling and then breathing out, lowering your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathe out as you roll down, hands either side of your feet, and step your left foot back, right foot back. You're in a plank, heels up, tummy or lower abdomen engages, and then drop your knees to the ground. And then come to lying, either on your elbows or come to completely lying on the floor, stretching out. Slide your hands in so that your elbows come in to support you as you press down on your hands, and then you can move your hands towards you if you need to. Tuck your toes and then come into a very soft downward dog. Again, bend one knee and then bend the other knee, and then bend both knees and then extend. And then bend both knees back onto the mat, and your hands this time go to the right, allowing your left foot to come up, hands either side of the left foot, tucking your right toes under, engaging your lower abdomen in slightly to your spine as you lift your back right leg and step your right foot towards your left foot. Hands go on the shins as you inhale, pressing the hands and lengthening along your spine. Breathe out, bend your knees, elbows tucking in. Inhale, press your hands on your shins. Stay here as you exhale. And breathing in, soften your knees, press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. Stretching your hands up. Thumbs go behind you, little fingers in front of you. And breathing out, lower your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing out, lower as you bend your knees. Right leg back, left leg back. You're in plank, a straight line. Heels up, in lower abdomen engages. Bend your knees back onto the ground. And then carry on as you come straight forward to lying. Whatever you want. Stretch out. Slide your hands back, elbows in, press your hands down, tuck your toes, and then come into a soft dog. Extend your spine and then straighten your legs. You can walk the dog, bending one knee and then the other. And then perhaps bend both knees, extending the spine and straighten the legs. Bend the knees again and then come back down to the ground. Hands to the left, right leg up. Just thinking about that. Might be the other side. Tuck your toes under as you bring your left foot to your right foot. This time just press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. And breathing out, lower your hands back down by your side. And then last time, hands together. Inhale, raise your hands up. Roll down. Left foot, right foot, plank. Bend both knees, come to lying. Slide your hands back, press down, come to your knees, tuck your toes, come into downward dog. Walk the dog, and then bend both knees and extend. And then bend both knees down onto the ground, hands to the right, left foot comes up. Hands either side of the left foot, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee up and step your right foot to your left foot. Press down with your feet, bend your knees, and roll up vertebra by vertebra into standing. Last time, hands go up, looking either ahead or up, whatever suits your neck, and then breathing out, lower your hands. Come to the centre of your mat, hands together, and then bend your knees to come down to a seated position. And we come back in our focus to the base of the spine, so from Muladhara chakra, we come to Coupler's pose or Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, and just bounce your knees. Bring your focus once more to the base of the spine, so this is our foundation. If this energy is out, your apana energy, all other energies are out. So you can just explore bringing your thumbs to the insides of the soles of the feet and just massaging the soles of the feet. And then coming up, extend your feet along the ground in front of you. Take the flesh out from underneath you. And just place your hands either side of you. Have your feet parted in a slight V, and then bend your right knee up. The sole of the right foot is aiming towards the inside of the left leg. Hands either side. As you raise your hands upwards, turn towards the outstretched left leg, and bending your elbows to assist you coming forward, slide your hands down your shin and stop wherever this feels appropriate. Breathing in and breathing out. This pose is called Janushasana in Sanskrit, and it's head to knee pose. Well, its knee is Janu, and the Shasana is the head. And in this particular pose, you are coming forward, which is calming for the nervous system. Your right hip is open, so that is opening for the hip and for the immune lymph system. And then you have a slight rotation with your back and your spine. The space between your vertebrae as you're coming forward is given space. So it's a 3-in-1 pose. Slide your hands up your left leg. Your right hand goes behind. Your left hand goes up, and you look at your left thumb. This might be enough for you. There is an option to roll onto your right knee and come up. It's quite a strong pose, this, so please leave it if this is not great for you. And then breathing out, lower your bottom back down to the ground, and take that outstretched left leg, bend it into a double V, turn towards your right knee, and walk out, coming forward as little or as much as you would like. Over that right knee. And staying here as you breathe in and out. Walk your hands back, hands either side of your bottom now to support you. Extend your legs in front of you and feel you might be lopsided, that you need to just adjust, bringing your flesh out again from under your bottom. Just bounce your legs and toes up to the ceiling and then point your toes away from you. And then open your legs to a slight V again, and this time bend in your left knee. Left sole of the foot is towards the inside of your right leg, and your right toes face to the ceiling. Lengthen your spine by just bringing your hands either side of you and raising your hands up. As you turn to face your right leg, bend your elbows and then slide your hands along your legs, your right leg, to where it feels comfortable. Have a sense that you're lifting up from the base of the spine rather than just bending over from the waist. So again, the benefits are the same, but just on the other side. The back of the neck is extended, so any compression or hunching up that we can do, especially sitting down and working, is just being ironed out. And then slide your hands up your right leg. Your left hand goes behind you and your right arm hand goes up, and you're looking upwards. This disconnects the eyes from the stress centres of the brain, so it becomes a mindfulness exercise. And you can either stay like this, or it's slightly stronger, you can roll onto your left side, pressing down with the left hand to lift up. Your chin tucks in so that you protect your neck at all times, and it becomes a lovely stretch along the right side. And then soften back down to the earth. bend your extended right leg into a double V, which incidentally is one of the ideal best 5 hip positions ever. And if you're sitting at home and you're slightly uneven, which I am, have a little gap, then you can have a little cushion or balls to support that. And turn towards your left knee as you place your hands either side of that knee, lengthen your body, and then slightly engage your abdomen towards your spine, just to engage everything and protect, and then just walk forward. Coming forward over the left knee, and you can come down as little or as much as you like. It's quite a nice stretch, again on the hips, it's hip opening. And then very gently use your hands to walk backwards and to support you as you come upright. Place your hands either side of you to make sure that you're supported as you then lean back and stretch your legs out again in front of you. Feel that you can take the flesh out from under your bottom. And then just circle your ankles a couple of times in one direction, and then circle your ankles a couple of times in the other direction. Stretch your toes out and relax them, and then stretch your toes out again and relax them. And just paying a little bit of attention to the hands, stretch your fingers out, curl them in, flick them out this time, and curl them in, and just rotate your wrists a couple of times in one direction, and your wrists a couple of times in the other direction. And then just shake your hands out. And come to cross your legs as you hold just your knees or below your knees. Breathing out, roll forward and hold the breath out for as long as you can. When you're engaging your perineum upwards, and tummy or lower abdomen muscles in. When you want to breathe, relax your muscles as you breathe in and sit up. It's an internal toner. Breathing out, come forward, chin to chest, perineum engages upwards, tummy comes in. You're engaging, hopefully, some energy locks, bandhas. When you want to breathe, release everything and come up. And then once more, roll down, engaging everything. And then sit up. Still keeping your hands where you are, we're going to transition from the lower base chakra just slightly up to the lower abdominal area. So sitting up, rounding, use your hands as your support against your legs. Sitting up and then rounding, chin to chest, which incidentally activates the vagus nerve. Sitting up and rounding. The vagus nerve being activated decreases inflammation. But then support your knees as you roll onto your back, and we move and transition to the lower abdominal area. So as you roll onto your back, stretch your legs out, extend your heels. Just make sure that your shoulders are lowered away from your ears. And bring your attention now to your right leg, hugging your right knee into your chest. We briefly revisit the Apana, Apanasana energy, but this energy is connected to the lower abdominal area. And then focusing in the abdominal area, keeping your right knee hugged into your chest. Roll your entire body with your right knee tucked in over to your left. So your right hip lifts off the ground. You can always have support underneath your knee. So my right knee is over to the left. My right hand can either rest on my right waist, or I can open my right arm out along the floor, which you'll feel a real stretch up here at the shoulder, at the underneath the arm. That might be too strong. Or you can bend your elbow and have your hand up above your head. So you've got 3 options there, and you can either look up or look to the right. And your left hand can just hold your right thigh. So this is a rotation at the lower abdominal level. And any rotation realigns and balances the spine. So this is quite a nice stretch. Classically, you would extend your left leg so that your left heel is extended, and you get a sense of that stretch even more. And then roll onto your back, hug your right knee into your chest once more, and then very gently place your right foot on the floor, extending it out alongside so you're lying on the floor. Feel free to just adjust underneath you, and then leave your right leg where it is and hug your left knee into your chest. Extending your right heel to just engage the right leg along the floor, and then roll your entire body over towards the right so that your left knee rolls over. Your left hand can either rest on the waist, or it can open out like a book, which is quite a strong pose, but that is the classic pose. Or you can bend your elbow, your left elbow, and raise your hand above your head. And again, just a note to remember to extend your right heel, because that gives that lovely stretch. You're giving space really for everything in your body just to stretch out. And it's quite a safe stretch because you're supported by the ground and choosing the modification that works for you. And then roll onto your back. And then hug your left knee into your chest. Hug your right knee into your chest and just move if you need to make any adjustment. And to counterpose the rotation that we've made, I know this sounds weird, but we're going to come to a forward bend, but lying on our backs. So if you imagine sitting up and coming forward, and then if we raise our legs above our heads, clasp them behind our legs, that mimics the same pose, but we're lying on the ground. So it's a reverse kind of forward bend, if you hopefully followed me. It's simply just counterposing the rotation that we made. And you can just slightly wave your feet from side to side, swaying them. And then very gently bend your knees, hugging them into the chest. And then you can just either roll to the right to come up to a seated position, or you can hug your knees into your chest and rock up using your elbows, and then come to seated, and then just come forward for a moment, relaxing. And then just sitting up, just very gently sway your knees a couple of times from side to side. And then we move from the lower abdominal chakra to behind the navel, which is Samana energy. It's very connected to our digestive system. So coming onto your hands and knees, and hands are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart. And just gently rock from side to side with your bottom, rockabye baby. Tuck your toes, engage your lower abdomen as we come into a downward dog, a soft downward dog. And then bend your knees and place your left knee on the ground as your right leg comes forward. You might like to move your hands to the left to give space. And then come to kneel up. Now, if you find that your balance is wobbling, you can always bring your right leg out to the edge of the mat. And to further secure your balance in this particular pose, you can tuck your back toes under, but not everybody likes that because it can be painful under the toes. So adopt whichever position you would like. raising your left arm, and then again, lower abdomen comes in slightly as you bring your left arm across your right knee, your right leg, and then put the palms together and press your right palm on your left palm as you turn. And imagine almost laying your head on a pillow so that your chin is tucked in and the back of your neck is long. It's a twist or a rotation at the navel level. And very slowly come out of that, placing your hands either side of your right foot to stabilise. You can even bring your right foot in slightly if you've taken it out towards the edge of the mat, tucking your left toes under, engaging your abdomen towards your spine, to lift up your left knee, and to step your left foot towards your right foot. Take your second and third fingers, bend your knees, and place the second and third fingers under your big toe, and your thumbs are on top. Bend your knees as much as you need to feel that you can do this. If that's not great for you, then just come forward and hold your shins or wherever's comfortable. It completes a circle of energy. Once you come forward, you might like to think about straightening your legs, which stretches the back of your legs. That's quite good in that sense. And then just let your hands come out, place your hands either side of your feet, bending and softening your knees, to step your right leg back so that your left leg stays upward. And once again, you can always move your left foot towards the outside of the mat. Your back right toe can be flat or tucked under, and just walk your hands up your left knee. Always take a cushion under your knee, that's appropriate. You can always roll your mat up or just put a little bend in your mat to soften and cushion the knee. Raising your right hand up now, stretching up, and then engaging your tummy or lower abdomen in slightly. You should bring your right elbow across your left leg. Hands together in prayer, pressing down with your left hand to your right to allow you to twist your chin tucked in, back of your neck is long, and just enjoy this samana rotation at the navel level, improving or impacting your digestive system. And then very slowly come out of that, hands either side of your left foot. Feel free to move your left foot in slightly. Tuck your back right toes under, lift your right knee, and step your right foot to your left foot. And either adopt that same position where your second and third fingers are under your big toes and your thumbs are on top, or if you've got the capacity, put your hand underneath your entire foot. You might need to bend your knees more, but choose, or just hold your shins. Again, it completes that circle of energy. And then remove your hands. And then bend your knees, come to kneeling onto the mat once more. And then drop your bottom to the side and come to a seated position. So, there are many different yogic traditions, and according to different traditions, they have the view that you've moved energy for a certain amount of time, you've done a certain amount of movement, and therefore the traditional yogis like to balance that movement with either a form of rest. So some traditions of yoga have shavasana for a few breaths. In this particular tradition and in this particular sequence, they have a breathwork system to detoxify all the energy that's been moved. So classically this is called Kapalabhati, it's a detoxification breath. I'm going to hold my knees or just below, and I'm breathing out, only focusing on my exhalation through my nose. So if you, I'm going, it's a forced exhalation, and your tummy naturally re-inflates. If that's difficult, you can train by imagining having a dandelion on the end of each finger. And the training breath actually then would use your mouth. We don't normally use the mouth in breath work in yoga. But the training breath would be to blow your dandelions from each finger to get that movement. So we can try with the daisy breath, which is or you can carry on with the daisy breath or try the full breath, which is the same, but you keep your mouth closed. You sniff out through your nose. And then come to a close, blow out, hold the air out, and then just relax. And notice any effects. It's also called bellows breath, that bellows sounds, and it's also called chiming skull because it's a frontal lobe cleanser. Sometimes you can feel a band of energy moving across the top of your forehead. So we transition now to the next level, which is the heart level. And the heart level is complex. So you can stretch your legs out in front of you, bouncing your legs, cross your left ankle over your right, just sitting up to lengthen your spine. Your right hand goes to the outside of your left thigh, and your left hand goes a little bit behind you as you press down with either your fingers or your palms of your hand. That really depends on your arm length. Breathe in, lengthen upwards your spine, and breathing out, turning. This rotation is meant to be focused on the heart, so it's meant to be the back of the heart turn. And your head is the last thing to turn. When you're happy with your position, take an in and an out breath. Come back to the centre. Hands either side of you to stabilise you, and just uncross your left ankle, just stretch your toes and relax them, and then pick up your right leg and cross your right ankle over your left. Lengthen your spine as you sit up, and take your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Your right hand goes behind you. Press down with your hands, lifting up, and breathing out. Turn to look over your right shoulder or to wherever your capacity takes you. Press down again as you inhale and turn. And when you're happy with where you've turned, just stay here for yet another in and an out breath. Come back to the centre, uncross your legs, and just slide your hands forward along your shins to take a counter pose from that rotation movement that we've just made. Slide your hands up, bend your knees, come to kneeling, and then come through a soft downward dog to roll into a forward bend, and then roll up, moving your feet, your hands to standing. Rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Come to step your feet out into a triangle, and just for the moment check that your feet are parallel. Lift and roll your shoulders. So this is still at the heart level. I'm going to turn my left foot in to about 45 degrees, and then my right foot goes out. And I'm going to place my left hand on my waist to open me out here at the left shoulder. My right hand goes out, and I drop, soften my right knee and drop my weight centrally. And you might need to adjust your feet wider depending on your height to make sure that you're dropping centrally and not coming forward across or over your right knee. You can then, if you want to, come into full warrior two by stretching both hands out and turning your head to look beyond the third finger of your right hand. Check that your chin, the back of your neck is extended, your chin's down. And then bring your right foot back to parallel. And you can rest your hands on your waist while you're doing that. Your left foot turns out, your right foot turns in. Keep your right hand on your right waist. Just feel that you're opening the shoulder here, which connects to the long ridges. Your left hand goes out. Soften your weight dropping centrally. Soften your left knee. And then you can optionally open out both arms and turn your head to look beyond the third finger of your left hand. Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. It's a warrior pose, so it's uplifting. You lift your chest and it becomes heart focused. There's also a grounding pose as well. And then lower your hands, bring your feet parallel. Just heel-toe your feet, so heels come in, toes come in, heels come in, toes come in, heels and toes, until you are comfortably, your feet are comfortably hip-width apart, and feel free again to adjust. And this becomes a Tibetan triangle where you lift and roll your shoulders. Your left arm, you can hold your left thigh for support as you raise your right arm. Lower abdomen in, perineum engages up slightly, and just come over to the side, to the left. Inhaling, coming up, breathing out, coming over to the left. You feel that you're between two panes of glass. Breathing in, coming up, and then breathing out to lower your right arm. Extend your left arm up. You're turning the arm inwards so that the inside of the arm faces the left ear. Support your movement with your right hand against your right thigh. And breathing out, just slightly, you're not going to go very fast, slightly come over to the right. Inhale, come up. Breathing out, come over. Inhale, come up. And last time, breathing out, come over. Breathing in, coming up. And then lowering your hand back down alongside you. Bring your thumbs together. Raise your arms upwards and just very gently sway from side to side. And then come to the centre and lower your arms back down alongside you. Lift and roll your shoulders and place your hands on your waist. Feel, we're going to be doing a balance by lifting our heels, so feel that you can adjust your feet to where they're comfortable and lift your heels. And then your heels are still going to be above the ground, but you just lower them slightly so that they're a millimetre above the ground, so that you feel that you're putting weight into your heels. Well done. And then just very gently lower your heels. And then carry on down as you bend your knees, lowering to come back down to the ground. So we're still at the heart level. And coming onto our abdomens, elbows on the ground. So we're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So this is also like the Virabhadrasana Warrior 2 that we did. It's uplifting at the chest. So the further out you have your elbows away from you, the less the angle at the lower back. So you're just bringing your elbows comfortably out. You're looking along the mat, you're looking along the floor. So your head is down. feel that you can be comfortable. You might like to spread your knees further apart. And take a couple of breaths here. So Sphinx pose is a modification of Cobra, and Cobra, the hands are much further back. It's a sharper angle, but it lifts up from the chest, so it's an uplifting. It's uplifting for the heart, uplifting for the mood. And then you can, as you're staying here, breathing in and out, just gently bounce your feet, the tops of your feet on the floor. That connects into the lymph system, the tops of your feet, so just bounce. And then slide your elbows out so that you're coming down lower, and you can rest your head, either looking down or your head turned to one side, on your hands that act as a pillow. You can actually have a bolster to rest your head onto. Have your knees slightly wider apart. Bend at the knees so that the soles of the feet face the ceiling, and just very gently sway your feet, your knee, everything from side to side. So this becomes a windscreen wiper movement. And then very gently lower your feet back down to the ground. And you might feel that you want to bring your knees in slightly closer together. Slide your hands out from underneath your forehead and slide them back so that they're placed on the ground and your elbows are up, supporting you, your elbows aren't splayed out. And very gently come back to kneeling on all fours. Feel that you can adjust. And then carry on bringing your bottom towards your heels as you stretch forward in child's pose. Now here again, your hands can be out in front of you. Your hands can be stacked one on top of each other so that they form a support for your head, your forehead to rest on. In that case, you're not so far forward. Your bottom might be able to lean comfortably and move backwards. Your knees can be apart to accommodate for greater comfort. A classic child, you can definitely have support like a cushion underneath your forehead, but classic child has the palms upturned alongside you so that your back stretches even more. But as I said, you are totally allowed to have a support, a bolster or cushion underneath your forehead here. Just enjoy this restful pose. And then wherever you are, slide your hands back to come briefly up. We're going to be coming to lying on our backs as we move and leave the heart, and we're now going to be coming up to the throat area. So coming on to before we come to the back, come to seated. Lift the flesh out from onto the bottom. Hands go either side of you and perhaps slightly behind you. Press your hands, your fingers down. Lift your chest and feel like a cobra with great care that you're lifting your chin up. It's a supported movement that you're controlling a slightly lift and you're looking slightly upwards. You're creating space at the throat level. And then bring your head upright as you bend your knees and once more come to lying on your back. You can come down to the ground by your elbows. Your knees are bent and your feet are hip width apart. Your hands are palms down. And hugging your knees into your chest,
Drop your hands underneath your thighs. You can clasp your hands as well if you want to feel that your legs are supported as you raise your feet to the ceiling. And just very gently sway from side to side. This becomes an inversion, and an inversion is invaluable for rebalancing the glandular or endocrine system. But if you don't want to be doing this in the middle of a room, you can always go to a wall or a sofa where you can have your feet. They don't have to be up, they can be over a sofa. You could have your feet, you can have a cushion under your legs, but you can have support, either, as I said, to get legs up the wall or a chair, and stay there for quite some time. But we're going to bend our knees now, hugging them once more into the chest, and just enjoy a very gentle sway from side to side. And then supporting the legs as you place one foot and then the other back down onto the ground. Knees are bent, feet are hip width apart, hands or palms down onto the floor. And as you breathe, press your feet into the ground, lift your body, raise your arms up above you. Your chin will go in towards your chest and just stretch up in a very modified bridge form. And then breathing out, lower your arms back down, your body goes back down to the earth. And then hug your knees into your chest once more. And just rock from side to side. Support your legs underneath as you place one foot and then the other foot on the floor. And we're going to leave the thread to move to the third eye. So bring your focus to the centre of the forehead, a little dent, and very gently get the pads of one finger and just circle around that third eye area. It's very soothing for the nervous system. The third eye connects to the pineal and the pituitary glands, which are part of the major metabolic control. You can also take your fingers and stroke across your forehead. Lift the fingers off and then start again, moving in the same direction. You might prefer that. And then, very gently bringing the attention to the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, right at the top of the head. And classically in yoga, you would do a headstand to stimulate this upper chakra. There are variations on this as well, but we're lying on the ground, so just take your hands and gently hold your head, hands either side, slightly pressing your fingers down onto the top of your head for that crown chakra stimulation. If you ever take the time to feel around the top of the head, there are lots of dents and little, every dent reflects, or big dent reflects a acupressure point. So in Ayurveda, which is the medicine side of yoga, the Ayurvedic, they all have different names, but they're called marble points, is the generic name, and you can just massage across your dents. Each dent connects to a different part and area of the brain. It's really quite fascinating. And then very gently, you can stay holding your head or just relax. Your knees can be bent as they are. They can be wide, feet wider apart, and the knees touch in constructive rest, or you can just come for a moment or two into Shavasana. But wherever you are, bring your attention to your feet and physically scrunch your feet up and then just relax and release them. Physically tense your bottom and release and relax. And then physically tense, clench your fists, your hands, your arms, your shoulders might go up slightly, and then release and relax. physically bringing your attention to your chest, lift your chest away up from the mat, and then just relax, breathing out as the chest and the whole the torso area relaxes back down onto the mat. Consciously lift your shoulders up towards your ears, and then just as consciously lower your shoulders away from your ears. And then just very gently turn the head from side to centre to side. And once more, just let the head roll to one side slightly, come back to the centre, and then roll to the other side. And now choose a colour, any colour that resonates with you today, and imagine yourself wrapped and protected like an egg, an auric egg, inside and outside by your chosen colour. And that confers protection for the rest of the day, that only positive thoughts can come in. And negative thoughts are out, everything negative has gone, has dissipated. And holding that auric colour protection, come to either stay where you are on the mat and just relax, drifting off. If you want to join me to end the class, then you can bring your attention to where you are on the mat, the parts of your body that are connecting. And you might like to move once more, hugging your knees into your chest and moving fingers and toes to come very gently and taking your time to the side. And stay there for a moment to readjust your fluid levels. Make a natural adjustment to support you on your way up very slowly and gently to a seated position. And then gently bring your hands to your heart and take a bow for yourself to have a lovely day ahead. Thank you very much.